Welcome to your horoscopes for Jupiter square Chiron 2026. I'm a Virgo and I want to warmly welcome you to the Cosmic Sky Podcast. Or in this episode, I'm going to be breaking down what you need to know for your Sun, Moon, and Rising sign for this wonderful conjunction of Jupiter square Chiron happening July 1st. I'm so excited to be back with you with another episode to be discussing this aspect. And so you want to know what your Sun, Moon, and Rising sign is in order to really make the most out of this episode. You can find your Moon and Rising sign on astro.com if you don't know it yet, but everyone should know your Sun sign. So without further ado, I'm going to just delve right in. Now, if you didn't see the first part of this series, which is the Jupiter square Chiron part 1, I would go back and see that so you have a good idea over what it means collectively for everyone. So, let's start out with Aries. Now, when things don't go your way, Aries, when things don't happen in the way that you want them to happen, when things do not occur in that kind of way that you're expecting, in the kind of way that you're wanting, you catastrophize. You make you really get very upset about it and really, irritated about it and throw a holy fit over it. And Aries can really be sort of childishly immature. Like, think of a child, how the child, he or she, stomps their feet around and gets really annoyed because they're not getting what they want. And then the parent has to put up with their whining and their complaining and all this. So Aries can kind of throw a holy fit, kind of like a child, because it is the infant after all. When the infant doesn't get what they want, then they throw a fit. So you can catastrophize, you can throw a fit, you can really get very annoyed at this, getting very frustrated at this happening. And so can you find the upside to the down moments in life? Can you find the good in all of the more negative moments you experience in life that bring you down, that make you feel very down within yourself? Really down in all those kind of ways like that, and really making you feel very depressed and very upset that things went this way, that things are going along in this kind of way. And so, can you find the good in what is considered difficult, in the experiences that don't go your way, in the things that you don't go your way, in the things that you don't like, and you experience something and it goes the way that you dislike? So what is the wisdom in that experience? What really is the wisdom going on there, and what are you experiencing there? What wisdom can you gain from this kind of experience that is not going the way that you want to, is not your cup of tea at all, really? But that's something that you can consider. And so then also hot sparks tempers could flare up, because Aries is very temperamental. Aries gets very angry really easily. And so you could find that around this time, the tempers flare up. And you could feel more angry and emotional today. Really emotional. You could find on July 1st, you're really just feeling irritated, just feeling frustrated, and you didn't discover where it came from. Nowhere. And so it's best to ground the energy, steady the energy, take a breath, and breathe, and don't react, and don't become angry, and don't become controlling, and don't become egotistical. That's a really important thing for Aries to step into, is not becoming that. And then what have you been ignoring in your quest to get what you want? Because Aries is about getting what it wants, going after the goal, and etc. So then what wounds need your attention when it comes to really getting what you want with that? That may have you look at certain things, that may have you look at certain wounds, certain desires of these wounds sort of formed in your life with whatever you're doing. What have you set aside? What emotions, what wounds, what difficulties have you set aside in order to just pursue what you want, or to just go after you want, instead of instead of really leaning in and feeling and being vulnerable. So now is the time to tend to those feelings and not neglect them. Now, Taurus. Now, your practical advice is very, very good, but it's not the only practical advice. I think that when you can get out of this humility, getting into humility, exactly, knowing that your open-mindedness, is very, very important. It's very, very open to be humble, important to be open to other perspectives, open to new ways of looking at the world, open to the fact that your window to the world is not the only window. Your perspective, your advice, your take on the world is not the only take on what is necessarily going on. And so it becomes time to really, really look very, very importantly at at what you are doing and what you are experiencing in order to understand that really, really clearly and carefully. And what is causing you to challenge your beliefs around stability and security. Because you may have beliefs that it's hard work to maintain your security. You have to work so hard, you have to make all this money, you have to do all these kind of things like that, that you're not worthy of the security and the stability. How can you reframe this in order to become more worthy? In order to feel a greater sense of self-worth with the security and stability, really, really feeling that and leaning in. And then there's also this feeling like others don't understand and agree with your practical advice. And this is where make your voice heard, make the practical advice heard, but also be open to the perspectives of others, be really, really humble in that regard to what others are saying and what others want. What kind of other practical advice is going on with you. So then Gemini. Maybe throughout all of this information and knowledge that you have going on, you find, because Gemini is, the information, the facts, the figures. And what it does is it takes all this knowledge and it forms beliefs from this knowledge. It forms a lot of beliefs from it. And truth from that knowledge. That's Sagittarius. It forms the truth from the knowledge. It forms the understanding from that. And so you rediscover yourself from what is going on to what you are believing about your life. So you're finding your beliefs. You're finding what you truly believe. You're finding what you truly value in your life and claiming that, really. So are you not feeling understood for your ideas? Not feeling like other people will be able to understand you. Maybe it's time to make your voice heard more clearly at this time and really, really, open up and share it and voice these ideas more fully. And getting back to the parts that you have previously left behind of yourself, of all the intellectual parts, of all the intellectual pieces of yourself going on. So, this is really, really huge for you. Is, not feeling like, you are being understood, you are being heard, you are being valued for these ideas. So where can you make it known what your ideas are? And you're also getting back to the parts you have previously left behind with what you have done with yourself in learning. So that's also a huge key piece here. In your quest of learning and experiencing and intellectual things, how can you get back to yourself, your own life, your own, your own understanding, your own knowledge base? And so that's really, really huge. Now, Cancer. You could be feeling extra emotionally charged on this particular day. Really, really highly emotionally charged. Feeling like everything is expanded. Everything, every emotion, every kind of thing like that is expanded and larger than life. Every kind of thing that you're feeling is expanded. That you could be feeling. The feelings could be really, really wound up. And it may be where you're feeling lost in your feelings. Where it's easy to get lost in these emotions. Where can you get out of these and find grounding? You can find solace and grounding on the earth plane. Meditation. All these kind of things you can get out of your feeling state and into your body, grounding into your body. So, where are you too optimistic about what is going on in your home life? Where does this over-optimism come into play here? Where you're overly optimistic going on here with this, and you need to ground into something, more stable. Where does this need to be reined in a little bit, where you're facing the realities of what's going on around the home? And you may not feel understood and validated for your feelings. That's also a huge thing with this as well, feeling like others don't understand you on the emotional level. So you could feel not understood for all these feelings, and that you are not heard and seen and so where can you have interactions where you can really make others know and have emotionally based conversations to let others know about these feelings? So then Leo, what do you truly believe? Leo is connected with its ideas and its principles. It's connected with what it believes in that sense. So what in essence do you truly believe for yourself? What do you believe about yourself, and how can you live more fully in those beliefs? That's the first question that I want to pose for you. And the second thing is, where have others kept you from living out your heart's joy? Because Leo wants to live out its heart's joy. It wants to live out its heart's greatest joy and its greatest passion and what it really loves to do. And so, how has your heart kept you from experiencing joy, from living joy, from being joy, from really living out your heart's joy and what you most enjoy? Could be painting, could be singing, could be dancing, could be writing, could be, whatever. Where do you need to drop into your heart and really live out and experience that joy more fully, so you can really make the most of it, with really leaning into that? And maybe you're so caught up in the material pleasures of life that you're not focused on the simple things that are inexpensive. That are really inexpensive, because Leo is a really materialistic sign, can get caught up in the shiny things and really expensive things that it's not focused on what is really inexpensive going on, with its own life. And what can you easily afford? What can you easily enjoy? What are the simple pleasures? That are, because we're understanding what true wealth is. Jupiter square Chiron. Jupiter is in Leo right now. We're understanding what true abundance really is. It's not the the material things that you show off. It is really the simple things. That's what I want to say. Now, Virgo. There could be some wounds around self-criticism coming up here. There could be some feelings around not feeling good enough, because Virgo has an inherent wound of not feeling good enough, that you are not good enough. And so healing this is really important for Virgo to work on their self-love, their self-worth, and feeling good enough within themselves. True wealth is a feeling of self-love that you feel inside of yourself. That's what true wealth is. Feeling loving of yourself. Loving who you are, accepting who you are, accepting all the messy parts, accepting all those parts like that going on. It's really huge to love who you are authentically, and to really understand that it isn't based on what's going on externally in your life, that other people cannot give you all this self-love and all these kind of things. You are ultimately the one to give yourself self-love. You're the one that feeds it into yourself, with all that you are doing. So it's very important to love yourself and fill up your own cup, because nobody's going to love yourself for you. Others can be very loving and kind, but you know yourself the best, and you ultimately are the one to love yourself, Virgo. So, and then finally, where are you not choosing to look at the parts of yourself that need love and attention? Where are you bypassing so many elements of life in that way, where you're not choosing to look and face what needs to be looked at? Choosing to see what needs to be understood. Now, moving on to Libra now. However, this kept you from connecting to your heart and what you really, really want to do, because Libra is a sign that's so related to relationship and so focused on the other and relating and getting along and harmonizing and balance and all this kind of thing like that. But finding that you can connect with your own heart in your own life that resonates for you. Where you can connect with what you want. What do you want? What are your passions? What are your desires? What do you want from your heart? Rediscovering that is really, really important. And maybe you're discovering new beliefs around relationships. Maybe relationships don't need to be very, very difficult, and they don't need to be a burden where you have to please or you have to work so hard to get along with the person. Maybe it can be the fun moments of relationship, the fun, enjoyable moments around relationship, where you are enjoying the person's company, where you are enjoying being with them, you're making the most of with them, you're sharing your heart energy, you're sharing your love and your life with them. That can be really, really huge with this going on for you. And it's also getting back to the parts of you that want relationships so badly that you can't stand it. That Libra needs relationships, Libra craves relationships, and so this is what they really want. Indeed, with their life. Now, Scorpio, what is the wisdom within all these dark emotions that you may be feeling right now? Because Chiron is the wounds. Chiron is that kind of scary stuff. So what hidden messages can you gain? What is the wisdom? What is the higher wisdom and the meaning you can gain? I know it's hard. I know what you're going through is very, very difficult and has a lot of pain and has a lot of sadness attached to it. But can you find the meaning in these things? You're especially feeling these things very, very intensely now. Really, really feeling these things super intense. The feelings are very, very on really huge ways. And where are you playing power games with others? Where you're playing the power games of saying, I'm right, you're wrong, and fighting others and being self-righteous, saying that your beliefs and values and, like the Taurus North Node is not projecting and pushing beliefs onto others because you want the power over others. It is having your values and beliefs just as a sovereign individual, just because you have these beliefs and that you want these beliefs, that you know these beliefs to be true and these values to be true. And knowing them for yourself and having them true for yourself, and understand that others may have different values than you, and Taurus respects others' space, Taurus respects others' values. So when you push on your values and fight others in this way, that is not healthy energy to really, really spend upon. So that's something to be mindful of at this time. So then Sagittarius, maybe you're going through a review over your beliefs. Maybe your beliefs are getting a review, and where you're seeing which beliefs are really true for you and which beliefs aren't. Like cleaning out the closet and seeing which beliefs hold true for me in my life. Which beliefs do I resonate with my personal life experience? Which beliefs do I not resonate with? Which beliefs do I need to throw away in my life that are not true for me? Holding the beliefs that really, really liberate you, that really, really empower you. Like, I want the best for you, Sagittarius. How have people kept you from your passions? Doing what you're truly passionate about, doing what your heart's desire is, exploring where you want to go, doing what you want to do. How can you reconnect with that passion? How can you reconnect with that heart's desire and really, really go in that direction? Maybe some of the beliefs around the energy exchange that you're looking at, you're thinking Scorpio energy exchange, but it can actually be when it comes to engaging with someone else from a foreign culture. At this time, it could be really, really easily with that, where the energy exchange is more person to person, between you exchanging ideas, and Sagittarius has a lot of energy and philosophical energy to talk and share ideas, and has a lot of open-mindedness and benevolence of spirit, generosity of spirit. So really, really utilizing that can be a really, really great asset during this time, as that that energy exchange quality. Now, Capricorn, you may not be clear on what you believe. That could be the bricks and mortar of what you want in your life, and it's okay not to always be clear. Like, this time may bring about confusion where you may not be clear on your beliefs, what you truly believe about yourself, what you know about yourself. And so this may be the case where it's about understanding this really, really critically, and understanding these beliefs really, really strongly, and finding new conclusions, finding new beliefs, finding what you're what you truly believe, what you're truly passionate about, Capricorn. That can be really, really huge for you. And can you look at your own shadows with humility? Like, Capricorn is not the most humble sign because they want to be the king. They want to be the king of the mountain. They want to be the top of the mountain. They want to have all the pride. They want to be very, very strong. They want to be on the mountaintop. So the downside, it can be where you're not having the humility to really, really look at yourself honestly, because you just want to work up the mountain you want to achieve. And you just think that your wounds and your shadows and your emotions are a waste of time, waste of energy. They don't mean anything, so you put them aside just for the sake of work. And that is not your invitation here. So can you be humble? And to be humble is to be objective and honest with yourself when it comes to looking at these beliefs and these wounds and these shadows and facing them within yourself. And then before you just pursue your goals, going on and achieving your goals like you always do, going through the motions, like having a goal and really, really being fixated, that really, really being so determined that you're going to achieve this goal come hell or high water, that you're going to just work so hard for this goal. You have to do the healing work first in order to make the greatest gains in life. You have to do this healing work when it comes to what you are doing. To make it really, really worth it for you. You have to do the healing work with yourself so that you can heal and you can go through those pains, and then pursue your goals in that kind of way. Pursuing your goals after you've done the healing work, that way you're more clear, that way you're more fresh, that way you're more open and willing to achieve. Now, Aquarius, can you be open to new perspectives of life? Can you be open to new ideas? That's really, really huge. Can you be open to new ways of looking at things? Can you be open to new vantage points? Because Aquarius is very open-minded. And the downside, you can be very, very fixed with your ideas and your principles and your philosophies and your beliefs. But at best, you can be open-minded towards everyone's belief, everyone's perspective, and really, really be open towards that, and open-minded and benevolent in that kind of a sense, where you're truly open to these ideas. And you can exchange information, you can exchange ideas and learn things and gain things in that kind of a way. Now, you aren't a very emotional sign. But in the undercurrents of your being, you're a very, very detached sign. Like Aquarius is the water bearer, it pours the water, it doesn't get hit with the water. But you're a very, very kind of detached sign. You don't really feel emotions very, very easily. It's hard for you to really, really feel and lean into those emotions and really lean into what you're feeling on that level. But you could be feeling highly emotional at this time, and that could be a case for you. This could be a feeling of feeling really, really emotional. That may be something that you're going through as well. So it's good to lean in and to not be afraid of the feelings. Not be afraid that this is a time when you might be feeling more than you previously have been. What part of your individuality and your uniqueness are you not integrating? Because Aquarius, you are so individual, you are so unique. And maybe you feel ashamed of this part of yourself that is unique, that is quirky, that is different from others. But maybe it's about bringing those things into harmony, bringing those things into balance, and really, really integrating all that you are doing in your life. That way you can really, really live that out, Aquarius. That way you can really, really, integrate the parts of yourself that you're denying. the parts that are who you are, your makeup, who you are as an authentic individual. How can you live with these parts of yourself and embrace these quirky parts that you may be ashamed of, that others may reject you for expressing? Like, oh, you're just so weird. Oh, you're just so quirky. You're just so out there. You don't belong. Well, that's who you are, and the world needs your light. And no one is normal. Normal is a setting on the dryer, and you're meant to be unique and quirky and weird. It's really, really huge. With Aquarius, now Pisces. What is the wisdom of your pain? Because Pisces, the downside of your energy is being so caught up in the pain, so caught up in the victimhood, that you feel helpless. You feel like a victim. You feel a loss of hope. You feel like you can't be saved. You feel like you can't be rescued. So you lose hope. And so Jupiter can expand these feelings of victimhood and unworthiness. Feeling unworthy of being saved. Feeling unworthy of being helped. Feeling unworthy of being loved. Like, oh, poor me. I'm a sad soul with my victimhood and woundedness and loneliness. How can you embrace victimhood at this time as something that needs healing, that needs the downside that is needing to heal, needing to become more spiritually evolved, needing to move into your confidence. Jupiter is about power, moving into your confidence, stretching into your power, becoming more empowered. That you have power, Pisces. You have a lot of power. And you just don't realize how powerful you are. So can you step into your power? You are a powerful co-creator. Don't let the universe tell you otherwise. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You are powerful. And you are not a victim. And then finally, with this comes not living in a fantasy, being in reality. Where do you need to get back down to reality when it comes to what you're doing and how you're living in your life? Not thinking that, oh, everything's great, because this Jupiter score Chiron could be false hope. Could be overly optimistic, being overly generous. Overly optimistic where you're not facing reality. It's so into fantasy, because Pisces can delude themselves in fantasy, but oh, it's going to be great. Like, be realistic about the limitations in both sides, like the polarity points as the positives and negatives about life, and have realistic expectations and be optimistic in a realistic kind of way. That's how you can really, really make the most of this energy. Okay, so that is Jupiter score Chiron through all Zodiac signs. I decided to do this episode today because I'm not going to let a Mercury station in the sky hold me back from doing these videos. I'm not going to let it. I looked up on Google Gemini, I pulled a card about it, and yeah, I'm not going to let the stars dictate what I do, and I'm going to do it regardless of whatever Mercury is doing in the sky, whatever Mars is doing. Mars is retrograde, could square this Pluto, whatever. I'm going to do it anyway. So, I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you got something out of your reading, and I will see you on the next episode of the Cosmic Sky Podcast, which will be all about the planet Jupiter in the 9th house in the natal birth chart, which I have in my natal birth chart, which I will be discussing in depth in tomorrow's episode on June 30th. What it means, what the natal planet means in your unique birth chart. What it's all about, really. What it all comes down to. With Jupiter in that house, about philosophy, expansion, belief system. So anyway, thank you for tuning in, and bye for now.